The ancient Hawaiians knew him as Kamahoali. In the Gilbert Islands, he was Bakoa. In Fiji, Dakawanga. In the Solomons, Bekwa. Throughout the South Pacific, the shark was worshipped as the greatest god. Less than 50 years ago, sacrificial victims were strangled on coral stone altars and thrown to the sharks. But the missionaries who filmed these headhunters in 1900 waged all-out war on the pagan shark god. Countless human lives have been sacrificed to the shark god. His followers have dwindled to a handful of true believers. The shark worshippers, however, can still be found by those who search beyond the frontiers of civilization. The shark god Dakawanga, if properly appeased, is the benevolent protector of shipwrecked sailors, ally of fishermen. His name is still remembered with reverence in modern-day Fiji. Tradition says Tuvu Harbor is the sacred ancestral home of Dakawanga. Now, it is an exclusive resort. Tourists, however, never see the shark god. But the women of Yanuda Island claim that the spirit of Dakawanga still lives. It is said that he protects the villagers from attack in this coastal river. The only person ever killed by a shark here was a visitor from another town, a woman who did not believe in the shark god. On another island, a tourist fell overboard and was immediately attacked by a huge shark. A policeman prayed to Dakawanga before jumping bravely into the bloody water to attempt a rescue. Miraculously, it seemed, the shark released its victim and swam peacefully away. Rather than relying on the shark god's mercy in the future, authorities are building guardrails. In still another village, a bricklayer claims he was saved by the shark god when his boat sank far out at sea. He says for 2 days and 2 nights, he rode on the back of a huge shark, which carried him to shore with an escort of smaller sharks. A few witch doctors occasionally include the shark god in their incantations. Condroya, one of the most powerful witch doctors, regularly toasts Dakawanga as he drinks a native potion. Twice a year, he and his apprentice perform the ritual of the sacred tooth. They believe the shark god appears at midnight to accept the offering. Fables and symbolic ceremonies are all that remain of what was once the all-powerful religion of Fiji. Missionaries and other newcomers have toppled Dakawanga from his throne in most of the South Pacific Islands. In the tiny village of Laulasi, however, the shark god still reigns supreme. In the Solomon Islands, the people of Laulasi cling precariously to the Stone Age. Adventurer Terry Hannigan is returning to the mysterious island where pagan priests once accepted him as a brother.
When I first came to Laulasi in 1973, I was lucky enough to witness a lot of occurrences that frankly defied my ability of explanation. Shark calling, particularly the totemic shark, which they were able to call with the performance of a certain rubric. Now, on 2 occasions, Boscaranone, the shark priest, was able to call these in virtually on order. This was quite amazing to me because the animals came from down current where they couldn't have scented the blood from the sacrifice that was put in the water. And it was just one of those things where you say to yourself, there certainly are some new things under the sun. Here, the people's 2 main cultural backbones have been the worship of their ancestors through the spirit shark and through the making of shell money. Now that I've come back, I notice a lot of the old ways changing. A lot of the familiar faces are no longer here. A lot of the people have moved away. Well, the general tenor of village life is missing. The young people all seem to be drawn to the capital where dollars and bright lights seem to beckon them. And it's really saddening for me to have to witness it.
So around?
Yes.
What kind of something happened in our village now since time before we come here? We heard a story now of some white man.
The Australian has a talk in pidgin English with the villagers. His friend Ramo tells him that the people are bitter and confused. A group of unscrupulous businessmen and corrupt officials from the capital persuaded them to deposit all their worldly wealth in a bank and then embezzled the money, leaving Laulasi destitute. Sios tells another sad story. The young people are moving away for jobs on the mainland. Even worse, they are abandoning the shark god Bekwa. Sios fears a terrible curse has been put upon Laulasi by enemies. Only the strongest magic can save them. Bosikuru None feels that he should make a special sacrifice to summon the shark god. If Bekwa answers, the curse will be broken. If not, the people must assume their shark god has deserted them. Before the sacrifice can take place, the living dead must be consulted. A 90-year-old holy man who calls himself Moses will play a key role. He lives alone in a hut, taboo to all but a few lesser priests. His days are spent talking to the ghosts of the dead. He will pray to the shark spirit for the blessing of his ancestors for what is about to occur. If a loved one dies in Laulasi, the body is fed to the sacred sharks. Only the head is preserved, wrapped in leaves. When Moses chants to the skulls, he believes he is talking to the dead whose spirit lives on in the body of the shark.